We waiting on Instagram to get shit together. But okay, not to say like the Wi-Fi signals have been terrible lately. You know what I mean? I'm talking about stretches of just black. Welcome to the Hookah Lounge. We're gonna do. I think I'm gonna do a bit of a twofold flow tonight. I'm gonna start with the cards. We're gonna do the reading and everything. Then I'm just gonna go into the live painting. I might as well knock two birds out with one stone. You feel me? All right, so let's get down to business. Welcome in if you're new. Welcome back if you're not new. Welcome regardless. Make yourself at home. Ask questions. Start a conversation. Whatever. So, where are we at? We got the full moon tomorrow in Capricorn. And that's what the transmission is really about because Capricorn deals with structure at the end of the day. Family structure, the structure of a building, your skeleton, your muscle structure, structure. It's the disciplinarian of, and the father figure of the zodiac. Okay, this Capricorn energy. It's also your 10th house of career achievements, goals, diplomas, degrees, shit like that. And this is the part of the house where you hang all that shit if you know your feng shui, right? So this is what we're looking at in the world, and we're seeing how it's playing out with power structures. You know what I'm saying? These people get leverage over these people, and collapsing and building kind of thing. So it's one of those things, a good practice right now because we're dealing with that Capricorn energy is yoga. That goat is infamous for climbing the mountains and having such great balance. So this is a great time to get back into balance if you're not already, or at least closer to that goal of being in balance because you're dealing with the structure of the body. And that practice in turn helps the mind and the spirit also get back into balance. So balance is key. It's like a low-key temperance energy coming up. And on top of that, ladies and germs, we have the new wave spell starting tomorrow. And that's pretty much the only reason I'm doing it tonight is because the wave spell. I want to give you the heads up. We just got out of the blue hand wave spell. So the recap for that last 13 days that we just went through had to deal with one, the hands, physically speaking. You may have done something with your nails. You may have, handshakes, crafting, your arts, anything to do with the hands, massages, things of that nature were either of beneficial or of detriment. You know what I'm saying? But that blue hand also deals with something that's really important now, which is the knowing. And the knowing really comes from the heart. So this is like a time where you're really listening to that heart for that inner knowing, especially when there's really no kind of tangible proof, you know what I'm saying, in the material world, so to speak. It's just like an inner knowing. It's like when you meet somebody and you have a good rapport, it's like, I know this person. Like if you ever had that feeling, that's the kind of knowing we're talking about. And even for my Reiki practitioners, there's a trust, but there's also a knowing with the hands to where to go in the body for, healing certain energies kind of thing. You know what I mean? That's just on a one-on-one level, but you get where I'm going with it. So we just got out of that. Today is the last day of that. It's the blue storm. So now it's kind of like this is a really good time to cleanse too. I got me a big ass jug of ginger limeade from the store, Show Fresh, and that shit is killer. Oh my God. You can feel it working. But, kind of like flushing out the old, especially when it comes to this Capricorn kind of feeling of accomplishments. Do not let your old accomplishments and achievements anger you because they will anger you just as much as failures and setbacks. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're in a room surrounded by all your old accomplishments and there's no room for anything new to go up on the wall, if you get my meaning. It's kind of time to put some of that stuff on the shelf, archive it, whatever you got to do. But it's kind of like, don't let your past in any form kind of anchor you and hold you back. You know what I mean? Restrict you in any manner. And tomorrow we'll begin the wave spell of the yellow sun, which is the last archetype of the 20. All right, just a kind of layman's for you if you don't know the calendar. Um, and it's happening on the first day of the wave spell, which is a stretch of 13 days, which that energy will be prevalent to help you. You know what I'm saying? It's for your benefit. It's going to show you the light and dark of it all. And this archetype deals with um, pretty much Christ consciousness. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Christ consciousness, being very self aware of who you are and what you're here to do, and really being present. So this is like the enlightenment. This next 13 days can bring enlightenment. It can shine the light on things that maybe were hidden for some time, and it'll have the blowback of that last wave spell, which is that knowing. So here's the energy right here, the yellow sun right here, and the keywords are enlighten, life, the matrix, and universal fire. So this is like Neo. This is like Neo right here. This is kind of like the Neo card. You know what I mean? Where, um, I just saw a clip of a brother who was teaching on this. The most important part of that movie, the first Matrix, was when Neo did something that nobody else had done, which was storm the headquarters. So this has got that kind of energy. You might get aha moments. You might see people get aha moments, whatever. But this is like, these old cycles, what we're used to, the old structures of things. We can see them clearly falling apart. The social structure is a mess right now. You know what I mean? You got pretty much martial law in the streets. You know what I mean? Just call it what it is. And I'm not going to be one of them readers to tell you that life is uh, not going to change, that we can go about our hunky dory way about doing things. It's changing, and this energy is asking you to change, not only change with it, but it's kind of like the Great Depression when everybody was struggling, but during that time, people who were at the bottom came up with all these ideas, all these new businesses based on the needs of the people around them. So this is that kind of energy that we're looking at. We could really tap into some shit right now if you're in that kind of business. A little meditation, a lot of quiet time will really bring things to the surface for you. It'll enlighten you. And the matrix itself, you know, we're talking about the avatar that we are moving around in this physical, tangible world. You know what I'm saying? And it's a conversation that could go a whole 15 different ways. I'm telling you, if we actually had that conversation going. But I just said to put that out there to get your mind kind of going with it. Okay. Just a little something on a Saturday, Sunday. You know what I mean? Nothing big. So just a real quick recap, we have the yellow sun wave spell along with this full moon in Capricorn, which is all tomorrow. So this is like a slight heads up because the energy is already here. We see it in the news. We see it everywhere. You know what I mean? But being aware of what you're looking at really makes the difference and helps you navigate the matrix. All right, so we're gonna get we'll get two for fancies, and then we'll clarify if we need, and then we'll do some questions if we need be. And I might pull cards from motherfuckers. I don't know how I feel tonight about that. But it's like the world is changing. We're evolving. Things are different now. Top of the deck, bottom of the deck. Absolutely, bottom of the deck is the veil, along with the yellow warrior. Again, the color yellow. So just quick side note. When these wave spells come up with these different colors, these are colors that you can look out for. Yellow could be a color that you wear to get in line with it. The yellow could deal with the chakra, you know what I'm saying? Um, as an area of focus, you know what I'm saying? Just to really kind of test new waters, if you will. And I say that because the yellow warrior uses intelligence and fearlessness, but the power behind this archetype is the ability to question things like we're doing now. We're questioning the structures that we live in, you know what I'm saying, the country that we live in, the people that we've been around, the dynamics of things, questioning that, asking tough questions, you know what I mean, of yourself and others, possibly, maybe family related, um, and your ancestors, asking them questions, even if they're not here, you know what I mean, things that fill in the blanks for family history, so to speak. Um, for those of you that kind of tap in the dream realm or get your messages that way, I feel like I'm speaking to a particular kind of person tonight. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I don't have to sugarcoat it or downplay it in any way. You know what I mean? If you know, you know. If you get it, you get it. But the veil, is talking about, again. This feels more of that Matrix feel. The role that you're playing now may be different. You know what I'm saying? Let's just say you even change professions or relationship status, or you go from being employed by somebody else to being self-employed. It's taking on a new role. It's asking you to ask what do you need to be in that role. What do you need to ask of yourself? Things are changing, so your schedule may change, your sleeping habits may change, workout routines, regimens, but anything that deals with the structure of your day-to-day life, and you know the totality of everything around you. You know what I mean? All these people and events and places. So how's everybody feeling tonight? You know what I'm saying? How's everybody feeling with what we just went through, or got anything to add to the discussion? Feel free to put it into the chat, because it's like, yeah, I don't mind talking, but I like conversation better. I feel like we get more done as a collective when we bring it to the table like that. You know what I mean? What's going on, priestess? Who's over here? I ain't got my glasses. What's going on? Whoever's over here. I see a couple heads that popped in. I see a couple heads that left, but whoever's in there, what's going on? And we'll recap everything, but I think the beginning of the video really kind of summed up the energy, right? We're just clarifying what we got to this point, which is the Yellow Warrior and the Veil. So we're going to clarify the Yellow Warrior first using the Santa Morte deck. Let's see what we got there. I'm not going to look at that last card. And then for the Yellow Warrior, we got interesting. All right, for the Veil, very interesting indeed. So speaking of Capricorn, speaking of structure, we have the Emperor in the reverse. I'll take him in reverse tonight because maybe there's a dual message. I don't, there's always two sides to every story, so we're going to go through it. And then we got the Queen of Wands in reverse. Now, these aren't necessarily the couple, maybe, you know what I'm saying? We're looking at the King of Wands, which should be over here, and the Emperor should be over here for it to be balanced. You know what I'm saying? But this veil energy, it just feels more here like a surrender. A surrender. And that surrender is feeling like that's where the transmission or the download comes in. This is where the ideas start to come in. Not being so proactive, tapping more into the feminine, because we do have a feminine archetype here. Tapping into that feminine energy, meditation, visualization. It really speaks of co-creation at the end of the day, but very much in the moment. You really have to be in the moment because you might miss it, kind of thing, right? Because fire is just like all over the place, but this is like kind of being still. And the Emperor is a control freak like this. So this might be a warning to, there's so much changing, and we really can't change anything outside of ourselves but ourselves. It's a reminder to come back to yourself and do that work for your damn self and let the world take care of itself as it is. You know what I mean? We're not going to be able to single-handedly go free Venezuela from the grips of the U.S. government. That kind of shit. We're, as much as maybe you would love to. Like, I would love to be able to put on a body armor suit and just go find traffickers and shit, you know what I mean, and save a whole bunch of kids, like that kind of thing. Like, there's so much that maybe you're invested in that maybe you need to let go of, you know, like even the rioting and the protesting, I get it, but the structure, the Capricorn energy that we're in right now is showing us the failure, is showing us the imperfection of what it is. You know what I'm saying? And it's falling on its face. So the question, we'll get to that with the yellow warrior now, is what do I do? What do we do to fill in the blanks or to move forward? You know what I'm saying? In this new energy, and it just feels like a lot of surrender, not trying to force things to happen. You know what I mean? But allowing things to happen naturally. And we're going to get to that. Let me write that down because I will forget. Naturally happen. It's not saying you don't take a couple swigs of some like lotus tea with some mugwort kind of shit so you can have clear dreams. Not talking about like that. That's you working on yourself. You know what I mean? That's you opening yourself up. Whatever, whatever. Mm, okay. Again, Eight of Pentacles and then the Queen of Hearts in the reverse. This, again, the Eight of Pentacles is like a lack of effort, you know, or maybe this is even pointing more towards being effortless, you know, in your endeavors, not having to work as hard. And then that Queen is again, more that feminine going in kind of thing. I'm gonna clarify that one more because I feel like there's something else on top of that. What you got for that? Ah, okay, okay. I see. I see. I see. I see. I see. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So it's like this is the result of moving too fast or going against the grain, and I mean the grain, the natural grain. So let's just segue into what I wrote down. You know, there's a calendar, so to speak, that's been going on in existence before we were even here, so to speak. Cosmic kind of like clock, naturally synced to the universe. Everybody's under the influence of this clock or these positions, depending on where you are in the universe, right? Then you get to this planet where you got a couple of egomaniacs that have changed the whole dynamics of the calendar to suit their own persona. You feel what I'm saying? So now everything is off. It's unnatural. You know what I'm saying? Our concept of time is unnatural in the current structure of the system. You know, so this is also urging you to get back onto a natural time, whether that be studying natural calendar kind of thing, you know what I'm saying? But allowing yourself to get back into the natural rhythm of things, you know what I'm saying? It's funny to see what's going on in the human world, and then you look over there in the natural world. They ain't bugging about nothing. They're just going about doing what they do, you know what I'm saying? But it's not to say that what we do doesn't affect them, you know what I'm saying? But this is the heartbreak that's caused. It's like being immature with your emotions, jumping the gun. So this is like people trying to trigger your ass, especially if you're one of the people that's changing and you kind of find yourself falling away from different places. It's not really a personal thing. It's just that your time there is done. You feel what I'm saying? It's time to move on and evolve in another part of your life, another aspect. That cycle is over. The cycle of belief, the Aquarian age is now taking firmer root, you know, as we go. You know, it's kind of like we had, what is it, the solstice, right? And we knew in the solstice, that's the darkest day of the year, but that the days following, the days start to get longer. You feel what I'm saying? So that's what we're doing with the ages. The ages are starting, the days, the influence is starting to get stronger as we move forward. You know what I mean? And it's urging you not to work so hard at it. It's kind of urging you to really be yourself. And this is where the transformation takes place. Kind of like rebirthing yourself, rebranding yourself, seeing things in a new perspective. But this is also that co-creation with whatever you got creatively going on, co-creating with the universe, new music, new art, new foods, new ways of doing things. You know what I'm saying? Birthing something new that maybe we haven't seen before. That was waiting for these kind of circumstances and situations to occur to bring up. And that's what's kind of clarifying this yellow warrior, asking the right questions. You know what I mean? The way you word things when you ask those questions and using your intelligence. Again, we had the heart in reverse, so this is about the mind now. This is about the reprogramming of the mind. You know what I mean? Because your mind has been locked in an unhealthy, unnatural system for so long. We've all been in it. You know what I mean? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Memorial Day, Christmas, like 31 days here, 28 days there, and it throws you off kilter. You know what I'm saying? This is about what else was on here? Fearlessness, intelligence, question. What was the other? The output. The output. The output. Um, what you put in right now is what you're going to get out into whatever it is that you do, whatever you focus. If you're putting a lot of love, a lot of energy, and with this kind of energy here, this is more like seeing it before it happens. You feel what I'm saying? Um, Whatever that vision or goal that you have, seeing it first. Can you see yourself there, wherever it is that you want to travel? Can you see yourself doing this new undertaking that you may have had an idea or an urge to do? But asking the right questions, asking the right questions and being smart about things. Head over heart. You know what I'm saying? Head over heart. All right. See if there's anything else in these cards that want to pop out. And then we'll get a closing. What came with that? Yeah. Okay. That was with that. That was with that. Because this is what really was, it's you got to be really careful with how you treat yourself right now because it's new territory. So you're going to hit a couple of stumbles here and there, but your prior journey has geared you for it. You have to trust that. That's the knowing we're talking about. I know that my past has put me in position to move forward. You understand what I'm saying? That's the knowing, all those skills. But it's like when you get a new set of wings, you know what I'm saying? You get this new life or something or a new perspective. You just want to run with it. Chill out. Chill out. Just chill out. Get in the natural process of things. You know what I mean? Let it develop naturally. If you're a story writer or a songwriter, it's like, or an artist, you got to let things take on a life of its own. You're there to just facilitate its coming into being. You know what I mean? But you're more like the channel. So what you're doing now, especially if you're going to cleanse or something like that, you're fine tuning yourself to receive what it is that you need. And to see what you need, you gotta really look at it logically and ask the right questions. You know what I mean? Ask. Intentions. But just make sure it's clear. You know what I mean? So let's get a closing. Couple of joints. And then you're welcome to stick around, whatever. I'm gonna do another hour on these pieces behind me, and they kind of serve for me as kind of like the confirmation for this reading, because especially this one right here. And when we start in on that, I'll show you why. But even the way I am receiving messages now when I'm doing my art or even the cards is different. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like asking me to sit in that and get comfortable in that energy. You know what I mean? Really figure out, really read the manual. You know what I'm saying? You know how you get something new and you just throw it up on the wall, you plug it in, you do all the thing, you don't read the book. But there may be things in that book that really, certain features and stuff like that, certain details that you might gloss over moving too fast. You know what I mean? All right. So we're gonna have a pretty interesting 13 days, especially with a new wave spell and a full moon on the same day. Like this is not something that happens usually. You feel what I'm saying? So it feels like a major turning point, but it's like low key. You know what I'm saying? It's like low key. It's kind of like hip hop. You just didn't see it coming, and then when it was there, it was like whatever. It's just a bunch of whatever, whatever. And now you see how it's influenced, regardless of the quality of music right now, whatever. You know what I'm saying? From where it started. Are you serious? Like it's more of that co-creation energy, and that's a reminder for all of you guys who are doing something new or different. You know, you probably been doing it for a while, whatever, but you maybe had to take time to see the value in what you were doing, or the purpose hadn't presented itself. That kind of thing. Still in basic training, blah, blah, blah. But now, the hermit, it's time to go within. And because I had this conversation today with my roommate, we were both talking about storyboarding and shit like that. He's a real cool brother. Very much into making film and cinema and acting, and this is the energy that I know he's into because it's like a quiet time. You know what I'm saying? But the thing that comes with this quiet time is the energy of Capricorn, which is structured to help you get your ideas in one place so you can take the next step. You know what I mean? And also getting rid of any fears you may have moving forward. Maybe in the past old cycle, you may have skipped out on opportunities to do things because of a fear that you had, you know what I'm saying, or a hang up or a perspective. But now it's saying, like, get over yourself, get it done. Get yourself a structure, get yourself like a process in order to bring whatever it is into this reality, if you will. You know what I mean? Whatever you're creating. Hell, it could just be a family, a child in particular. You're going to need some private time then, right? It's the same principle. You're not going to put it out there for everybody to see. And that's matched with Tausi. Tausi is having the support of those around you who kind of believe or see or I use that word believe very loosely, how you feel about things. You know what I mean? Um, I can think of a billion examples of this, but it's like, one person does one profession and this person does another profession, but they have a certain idea that kind of merges them together. You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. So it's like the environment around you supports you. It becomes your armor. The people around you, and this is kind of what you're attracting once you ask the right questions and you get into this mode here and really get clear. It's like now you're putting in your request and you're going to get this kind of result. You know what I mean? I mean, at the very least, this is like ice storms the neighborhood for your neighbor. You all band together and become that person's armor. You feel what I'm saying? So they can't take them out. That's throwing some real physical shit. You feel me? But that's the example they gave. You know what I mean? Just to keep it on the level for everybody. But it has that kind of advocate kind of feel. You know what I mean? Or a common interest feel. Finding people with the same kind of ideas, blueprints, similar qualities kind of thing. So for the hermit, what I tell you about that thinking, that's what it is. Ten of Swords. This is your opportunity. This is a great opportunity to get out your way. So stop overthinking. You've come to the conclusion. You know how you do it to yourself. You outthink yourself. You know what I mean? You psych yourself out. This is an opportunity to bring all that to an end. Take it all, and that's why I say it's also a time of being gentle with yourself. Don't judge yourself for it. It's part of the fucking process. You know what I mean? And then for Tausi, we got the Four Swords in reverse. squashing beef, arguments, disagreements, learning to put things to rest, but also learning to get rest because maybe this has been the blockage the whole time. You being run down. With the state of affairs is like different people for different reasons have to really get on their hustle in order to make ends meet. You know what I'm saying? And it really leaves little time to rest. And that's really part of the program and what it's meant to do to take you away from that creative space where you start really manifesting things that are of value now. You know what I'm saying? Things that are closer to your heart, related to your legacy, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's time to get some rest, putting certain things to rest. Take a little time for meditation, visualization, and asking the questions, not only of yourself, but like your guides and all that. Where do I find? What would I need for, or, how much does it cost? How long would it take? Just to get it clear in your mind so you have a structure to stand on. You know what I mean? So that's it for the cards. That's it for the cards. If you want cards read, you gotta put your name and all that other shit up in the comment section. I'll pull a card for you. I'm not feeling too nice like that tonight. I will pull a card for your ass. That's it. And honestly, I'm going to urge you to sit with that card and see what you get. You know what I mean? This is what we as readers really should be doing to our listeners, is whatever is challenging your ass. You know what I'm saying? To go within it and look for those answers yourself. Or translate what Spirit's saying to you at the moment. We all need a helping hand every now and then, or an ear to listen, a little guidance, a little wisdom from someone or something that's been there already. You know what I'm saying? It's not about being in your ego, having too much pride, and that could be part of that Ten of Swords. You feel me? And deciding which way you want to take things, which is what I'm doing tonight with this painting, because it must have changed perspectives about 8 or 9 times. Now, if you saw the circle joint in the beginning, we started this one. Well, we picked this back up at the end of about the end of the summer, and it was just a mermaid with a shark right here. You can still see part of the shark pushing against the glass, and that's what it feels like with a lot of these birthing of ideas, pushing against, the realm or the doorway to get out and spill out into the world. Use your imagination, whatever. And then I said, I'm not going to get stuck on that because I felt like I could do more, especially with the colors. Because it just felt like one solid color. So I did it again and came out with her with the arms pushing. She was just a little bit bigger. But when I did it again, I found a face right there that I really liked. You know what I'm saying? You see the face right there. But I found another face right here that I like. Here's the nose, here's the eyes, here's the lips, and this is the hair if you block all of this out. So it's like everywhere you look, there's something different going on. And I really have to be open because I don't want to, some of it I really like, I don't want to go over kind of thing, but this is part of the process. You know what I mean? One of the questions that was always asked is when put down the brush. Well, this one is tricky as fuck. You feel me? But I'm just going to play with it for an hour. You're more than welcome to, chime in or just sit back and relax. But for this hour, for people watching, I'd like you to encourage to get something out. Maybe you have a project or something that you have going on. And just to invest the hour into what you're doing. You know what I mean? So that's it for the reading. Now we're just going to get live. All right. But I'll tell you what, this felt really good when I saw her. It had such a devilish, playfully, almost ill intent, if you will, in her smile. It was kind of like the feeling of get back, or one of those feelings like, this is like, what's her name from Ragnarok, Helena, Thor's sister. It kind of had that feel, you know what I mean? Or maybe this is just that part of us that we kind of suppress and hide, but now it's bound to be shown. You know what I'm saying? That dark side, like you gotta embrace it all. All right, I'm done talking. I think. No comments. Everybody just say hi and all that. Okay. So I'm just gonna get to it. And I'm gonna do that too. Touch that before I forget. It's still not dark enough. That's a good example. Um, I'm not sitting in front of these things grinding my gears trying to force it to happen. I might put like two lines, but I'll sit down and I'll just occasionally look over at it and see what's talking and then engage that kind of conversation. And the last time it was for her, she wanted gills, like breathing lungs or whatever, right under her shoulder blades, right here. You know, that kind of look like fins or whatever, just to give her more of that aquatic Atlantean look. And see, even with the body, this could be the big face. This is her arm, and this could be. This almost looks like what I saw here was a turtle laying on her chest, right here, big turtle, kind of like she was giving it a hug. But in the larger sense, with the hands, with this face, this is the thigh and this is the leg, kind of, floating. So it's got like a dual effect, even right there. You know what I mean? I don't know. What y'all think? But then I also love this face too. This face looks a bit more ancient right here. If this was like her bottom lip, and I put a little detail. This is her eyes. This is her nose right here, and this would be like her cheeks. This is her top lip, so it's kind of exaggerated, and then the hair around it just accentuating. That's what it feels